Irashaimase! Hello and welcome to Fataris' Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fataris. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu this week we have Osyaberi Horijyo Gekihori. Anna Holinski saves the universe, alright? A super chatty horizontal scrolling shooter. What kind of taste will it have? Let's get cooking and find out. From developer Clouds Incorporated, Osyaberi Horijyo Gekihori originally released for the Nintendo Switch, only in Japan, in August of 2019. Now in September of 2023, courtesy of publisher First Press Games, it's available internationally. So this title's one I've had a lot of fun with, and I highly encourage you to check it out. You don't need to just purchase the game. There is a demo available, so if you like what you see here, I encourage you to check out the demo. But basically, it's a really simple, mechanically horizontal scroller, where in addition to defeating the enemies, you're also collecting the ore that they drop and ultimately building up your character. It's been a lot of fun so far, and I encourage you to check it out. Diving into the main menu. So the Osyaberi part of the title basically means chatty, and our main character here, Anna, is totally that. Throughout the course of the gameplay and even in the menu, she's constantly spouting out like just various questions, one-liners, that sort of thing the entire time. So if you have the voice volume turned up, you're going to be hearing a lot of that. So before we dive into the game, I just want to point out that the menu is one of the most impressive shoot 'em up menus I've seen in quite a while. So this game originally did come out in 2019, so I'm disappointed that I missed it, as like this has been a lot of fun to play. So Looking Collections does a great job of showing off what I admire about this particular menu. Just the way that everything scrolls, the whole look of the menu itself, the enemies are even animated on this particular collection screen. There's just a lot here that's like super stylish and really enjoyable. Another thing to note about the international release is it includes this extra mode, the Umelda mode, which is basically an additional story mode that was DLC for the Japanese version, but is included in this one. So, starting the game, we pick stage select, and we're taken to this is your stage type, or mode type. So we have normal, which is what you'll initially have until you defeat the game. Then you'll unlock hard and time attack, and there are even a couple other modes that I haven't unlocked at this time. I do want to go and say, I've had a blast playing time attack. This is definitely my most preferred way to go and play this game, as it's just a whole lot of fun to just sit through and blast through an entire run of the game itself. It's been so much fun. Starting on normal, we're taken to the actual stage select, and here you can pick any stage that you've reached throughout the course of the game. There's 24 areas total, so keep that in mind. And once again, the character is talking the whole time in the background. It's kind of, let's see, the fun part. So mechanically, things are relatively simple. We're moving around the screen with like the left stick, and we have a single shot. That's all there is to note. You don't take damage from contact with the enemies, so that's something that's very important to note. So you only take damage from enemy shots. And initially, starting off in Area 1, they're not shooting at you. It's actually quite friendly that way. One thing to note, though, when you do take damage, it depletes fuel, which is in the bottom left. When you run out of fuel, that's basically game over for that run, and you return to Earth. There are a couple power-ups that we can potentially pick up. They cycle between 3, your drilling laser, the crash barrier, and energy refill. So the energy refill is basically more life, and the other two are actually pretty interesting. So here we find ourselves fighting our first mini-boss. The mini-boss here, once again, since this is the first one, it's quite generous, and they're not actually shooting at you. Once defeated, we get to the part that I was talking about with the gameplay itself, where we're collecting ore from the enemies. So real quick, the story basically is these aliens stole all the precious metals and gems from planet Earth, and we're basically trying to recover that. So to that effect, when we defeat enemies, they'll drop ore. There's these ore sections where we can basically mine through some dirt to collect additional ore, and all the bosses that we encounter will also drop significant amounts of ore as well. So there's a timer in regards to these particular mini-bosses that pop up. Should you take longer and get a lower grade on there, you'll get less ore, and ultimately if you time out on them, they will run away. here we find ourselves approaching the first planet of the game. This is where things start to get really interesting, as we have like a really lush background to fill out everything with, and we also see some differences in the enemies as well, though the mini-bosses still continue to be roughly the same. Shortly we'll come across the first shop that we have available in the game itself. And that's where the real meat and potatoes of the gameplay come into play. One thing I did neglect to mention, since we don't start getting shot, you have a barrier around Anna, which will take any shots that are approaching us and slow them down, giving you the chance to dodge them, provided they're the red shots. If they're the blue shots, then those shots will continue through at their normal speed, and you'll have to be careful to dodge around those ones. Taking a little bit of damage here, so let's try and collect some energy. So one area I do like about the particular section where we can collect ore from the dirt is you can actually use the dirt to protect you from bullets as well. It's a pretty useful little feature. So here we find ourselves at our first Mambo shop. Manbo shop. It's the type of fish that it is. So here you can go and turn in any ore that you've collected up to this point. This is very important, especially later on in the, well, actually, I guess initially from the game, as there's a limited amount of ore that Anna can carry. In the bottom right of the screen, was your carrying capacity, and then how much ore we had total. So in the shop, there will be 3 upgrades that you can purchase, and these upgrades are random. So right now we could go and upgrade our crash barrier, we could go and upgrade the drill suit, and it says down below the selection here what they actually do. So this will improve our attack and defense, or we can increase our cargo capacity, so it lets us carry more ore as we fly around. If you hit cargo capacity, you'll be unable to collect any additional cargo, and your character will slow down. So that is something to be careful of. So given the amount of money that'll cost, let's upgrade the crash barrier and grab another upgrade to the drill suit. Exiting the shop, he does give us a little bit of fuel, which is quite generous. And then, now if you go into the pause menu, you can see all the different levels that you have for your possible upgrades. So it's actually possible to adjust these in the menu, so we could make ourselves significantly weaker, which I was basically running level 1 for most of the power-ups that I had. So we've got ones like the drill suit, so this is the attack and defense. The wide drill, this basically increases the width of your shot, and there's also the medio bit. So basically we have this heroic space cat that kind of acts as our ally, Medio. So I'll activate all of those, and we'll continue to run from here. So now you see we have a couple options floating around, and the enemies are definitely significantly easier to take out, as our shots are doing a lot more damage, especially the mid-boss. In addition to that, with those different power-ups we've picked up, we'll have more, with the crash barrier will last longer. Up to this point, I hadn't really been upgrading that. I've been focusing more on the other elements of upgrading. So while she's talking here, just to note, the background, once again, is like super fun. Like, I've got like mountains of shaved ice, dinosaurs throwing up like juice into the ocean, and we've got our first boss. So there's some other collection elements going on as well. So throughout the course of your gameplay, there'll be these freighters that show up from the back of the screen. You do get a quick little note about those. And those freighters, if you're able to destroy them fast enough, you'll get a plus 10 bonus to the ore that you're collecting. However, if you let the next freighter go by, then that combo will be broken and you'll lose that particular ore. So here's our first boss, like this watermelon eye. This is kind of an interesting fight, as it's got this juice beam that will push us back and oftentimes push us into its shots. In addition to that, the second half of the fight, we're just swimming through juice itself, making it very hard to move. Once the boss is defeated, we get a whole bunch of power-ups, a whole bunch of ore, and we move on. So as long as you don't get a game over, the gameplay continues all the way through the end of the game. So it just kind of continues fairly seamlessly. There are cutscenes and dialogue between a lot of the sections, but you can just skip that with the start button. In addition to that, if you're not a fan of all of Anna's and the enemies' vocalization, you can turn off like the dialogue and the options. That is like something that is available to you. And there you have it. That's Osyaberi, Horijyo, Gekihori, Anna Holinski saves the universe. Alright, served up for your enjoyment. That title is definitely a mouthful. And ultimately, I'd say that this one is a recommend. Having like the extra game mode like available, the DLC, right off the bat, so even once you've completed the story, you can go and enjoy like that and have even more of the gameplay. And on top of all of that, you also have the extra modes like the super fun time attack that I've enjoyed like so much, the bright visual presentation, just the fun of collecting all this like ore to upgrade like your character to well, at least in like a normal like level, kind of like silly power. For hard, it recommends that you have your drill suit up to level 20. So as far as minus flavors are concerned, especially later on in the game, I do want to go and point out that it does get very like frantic for sure. It's very much a bullet hell in what it's throwing at you at the end of the game, and even your barrier slowing the enemy shot sometimes can be more of a problem than it is help. In addition to that, the whole like chatty nature of the game, like I said, might not be quite to everybody's taste, but it is kind of fun at the same time. But on the plus flavors, I do have to go and say the whole ore collecting and using that to go and upgrade yourself is a lot of fun, and that's like one of the things that putting together a nice long run is like satisfying for. You can just keep on collecting more and more, and ultimately it's like super satisfying to see those high tallies. In addition to that, the various like DLC and the game modes are like a definitive plus to this one, and I've just had a lot of fun with this like the bright, colorful, cute atmosphere that this game has. So definitely a recommend from the show. Alright, that'll just about wrap it up for this week's episode of Shoot 'em Up Saturday. As always, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful week, and we look forward to seeing you again next time.